Congratulations on being newly listed on the CSE. Hi, my name is Barrington Miller, Director of Issuer Engagement at the Canadian Securities Exchange, and today I'm here with Simon Quick, CEO and Director of Canadian Copper Inc. Simon, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you so much for having us on today, Barrington.
No problem. This is, we're doing a newly listed clip, and for our listeners and our viewers, can you tell us a little bit about the company?
Of course. So we're a new company. We just listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange on July 27th. We were formed as a private entity back in 2001 in April out of a 5-project spin-out from a company called Puma Exploration.
That is wonderful, and we are glad to have you in the fold at the Canadian Securities Exchange. How did you get here? How did you end up being the CEO of Canadian Copper?
So my previous employer was a McEwen group of companies run by Rob McEwen, and it was an incredible run, 12 years there, and it afforded me the opportunity to see a lot of South America, different operations from concept to delivery. And I think that gave me sort of a unique skill set to lead an exploration company and understand what the key fundamentals are to grow it from an early stage exploration entity to something much larger and hopefully with greater value.
The mining and minerals exploration sector has recently had a bit of an upswing, which is great. Let's talk a little bit about, I guess, the market. What do you see happening? Like what's going on overall?
So for us, our main strategic focus on the commodity landscape is copper. So in terms of answering your question, it'll be mostly copper focused. I think if you look at the copper market, there's a wonderful quote from a global S&P that says the amount of copper that must be mined in the next 30 years is equivalent to what was mined in the last century. And a lot of that is because first world countries have made significant promises on net zero targets, and that is going to lead to a drastic increase in the demand for copper. And we think as a result, we'll realize in much higher prices from here moving forward into 2030.
Can you tell us a little bit about your team and the people that you work alongside?
Sure. I'll start at the board level. We're made up of 2 geologists who have significant experience in VMS deposits, which is the primary deposits that we have at Canadian Copper. And our third is a former CFO who's got good capital markets experience, understands accounting. And I think as a group, collectively, we have complementary skill sets that will allow us to move this forward at the sort of C-suite and management level. If you go the step down towards our exploration team, we've got an exploration group that formerly worked our 5 projects for 15 years in the Bathurst camp. They not only understand the local geology at the exploration level, but also the regulatory environment. And I think that's incredibly important to be able to permit these deposits for exploration and move them forward quickly.
There's a lot of mineral exploration companies, especially listed on the Canadian Securities Exchange, as well as other exchanges. What would you say is your main differentiator or a couple differentiators between you and the others that are out there?
Yeah, I think it's hard to compare and contrast some of these exploration companies because a lot of them are very successful, particularly in Canada in their own right. When I look at Canadian Copper, because we have a well-versed skill set between sort of the finance side, the geology side, and for me, the project development side, that gives you the key ingredients to understand what these near-term exploration deposits look like today and what are the key steps to bring them along to development and obviously advancement there. So I think that alone and our jurisdiction of focus, I think the Bathurst camp in New Brunswick is a tremendous area. It has really sound infrastructure, a clear regulatory permitting environment, and access to labor and human capital that make it unique.
You know what? There's been so much talk and news from that side of the country. I think it's wonderful, and I think it's a great opportunity as well. Speaking of opportunities, what do investors and would-be investors have to look forward to in the next 3, 6 to 12 months with Canadian Copper?
So currently, Canadian Copper has a historical resource between 2 projects totaling 175 million pounds of copper at near surface at plus 1%. We completed a 33 drill hole program late last year, so we're looking forward to sharing the balance of those results, which consist of 26 holes over the next quarter. In addition, that exploration program was the fundamental change to our upcoming mineral resource estimate for the Chester project that we will be releasing in October. And shortly thereafter, we're going to initiate sort of our wide range exploration update and prospecting program for the deposits that we currently have across the 3 projects in our portfolio.
Simon, listen, on behalf of the Canadian Securities Exchange, I just want to say thank you for your listening and thank you for your support. And we look forward to a long, fruitful relationship, and we wish you nothing but continued success. If people want to trade your stock, what is your symbol?
It is CCI under the Canadian Stock Exchange. And thank you so much, Barrington, for having us here today.
No, thank you. I've been your host, Barrington Miller, and this has been another episode of Newly Listed with Canadian Copper Inc.